Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Yes, She Talks. I am your host, I guess you can say, Maria Gerlando, and I'm here with not only my friend, my mentee, Jasmine, but the new Miss Queen of the Screen 2020. Everyone say hello and give it up to Jasmine.
Hello.
I'm glad that there's an audience and they're clapping and cheering for you.
I
Now,
hear them.
I met Jasmine back in, I want to say December of 2019. You had mentioned that you were competing for Miss Canada 2020. You wanted some help. From there, I was like, this girl is born to be a queen from the get-go. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that because she's just like working with me or anything, but you've really risen and grown in such a short amount of time in such a weird year to actually win your first title. Even though it was a virtual pageant, it's still a win nonetheless amongst 20 young women. So I'm tooting your horn in that way, but I'm going to have you describe yourself just a little bit now.
Great. So you actually cut off. So I'm just going to assume you said some fabulous things about me.
I said it. You're a winner, baby. I said you're a winner. So you're going to take it from here. Give them a little bit more about who you are.
All right. Awesome. So hi, I'm Jasmine. I am a scientist. I work at McGill University as a professor. I teach 3 different classes. One of the youngest professors, I must say. And I love pageants. I just got into it very, very recently. As Maria mentioned, my first pageant was in 2020. It hasn't even been a year. And it's basically what I do. I love science. I spread that word around as much as I can. And that's it. I say it loud and proud.
You're like, I'm smart, I'm beautiful. What can I say? Not much. It doesn't get much better. I'm kidding. She's modest. She's modest. She won't say that. I'll toot her horn for her. But do you get a lot of your students virtually even being like, how old are you? Because that happened to me a lot when I graduated and started nursing, and it's fun.
Yeah. So this is a good and bad thing. I never took a break when it came to school. I did 23 years straight, never just took a little pause or anything. So after undergrad, which was 3 years, 1 week after I graduated, I started my master's. A year after that, I skipped to my PhD. So I saved a year, completed that, and then 2 months after completing my PhD, I just started my position. So, and I like to think I look a little younger for my age, but I had some students, I guess they don't want to be inappropriate to ask me how old I am, but they would be like, you look really young to be a professor. Yeah. So they have mentioned you look really young, because usually the age is not 28. The average age isn't that. So I just have to say that, I got lucky, I worked hard, and it just happened. And now You're my student. So
I know, right? And my blood pressure rose a little bit just hearing you talk about all those years of schooling and all the steps and processes. So I'm like, okay, it's not you, Maria. You're fine. You don't have a test to study for. You're good. But it's a lot nonetheless. It's a big accolade. But before we get into what Yes, She Talks is all about, I like to do a little bit of a this or that, just about a minute or two long. You were like, I was waiting for this. Give it to me. And the questions are based on a little bit just about life, a little bit about you, though, so that the audience can get to know you better. And you can choose to kind of describe the one that you chose. It's not do or die. You can pick both if you want. You know what I mean? Or describe both in that way. But all right, we're going to get into the first, this or that. So do you prefer to dine in or take out?
Ooh, I'm not the best cook. I'm learning. And sometimes I don't have the brain power to make something. So I would order in. So I would take out.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a very COVID-19 answer, because who isn't ordering takeout and supporting local nowadays? It's a beautiful thing. So on to the second, this or that. Would you prefer to shoot at a studio or at an on-site location?
Ooh, I actually like studio better. I like studio better. I don't, maybe because I have more experience in a studio. Like, so I think I'm just more comfortable.
And your
Yeah, I think
studio
that's
shots look so good because when you're in a studio and it's just lights, camera, action, you have nothing else. Like it has to be you who performs in front of it and who changes up the poses, the positioning, and the vibe. Whereas when you're somewhere else, you can kind of rely on your surroundings to help you with that. But
exactly.
that's why you have some pretty amazing photos, even though like they're in a studio, they're just impeccable and inspiring, really. But
You're so sweet. Honestly, the best trick for anyone listening is watch America's Next Top Model and practice in the mirror and know your angles. And that's probably why actually that I choose studio, because I have more control over my own body compared to, you know, hold this chair or hold this flower in like the or wherever we are, right? So
I probably practice in the mirror too often for like the amount of shoots I do, but I love it. I just love it.
there's
All
never
right.
enough.
Would you rather be the teacher or be the student?
Teacher, hands down.
You're like, don't make me go back.
Don't make me go back.
No explanation needed. Traditional wedding or Indian wedding?
Ooh, traditional as in like civil wedding?
Traditional is in like more like Canadian modern with like white
White dress.
ball, white dress, yeah, whole shebang.
Ooh, um, after planning an Indian wedding, I would have said traditional. After actually going through the wedding, probably stick with Indian. It's so long, 5 days, a million people.
Oh, I know.
Everyone's just dancing.
My sister had to postpone her wedding, and that's just one day. I mean, in the bridal shower, but you would have had to like, I don't, we're not even gonna talk about it. We don't even want to talk about it, but it's a lot to plan, but obviously
Yeah,
really fun once the planning is all said and done.
that's it.
And for the last this or that question, would you have rather attend a pageant in person or virtually? I won't be
Ooh,
offended. I won't be offended.
no, actually, oh, that's a really good question because I did enjoy the fact that I was in my own home, you know, and did all the different parts that I needed to. And obviously, like I'm still wearing PJ pants, right? So you can at least be more comfortable. I guess if you're doing walks, you can't. But then also in person, there's the, you know, you meet people and actually experiencing it live and in person is a lot different. I can't choose. I think because I've only done one of each. Maybe that's why.
That's fair. But I also felt like at Miss Canada, you were so yourself and you're the type of person, like based on your pageant experience, I have to tell girls like how do I want to say this? Because I remember you were wearing like just your natural clothes like throughout the week, right? And typically I would be like, don't wear jeans, don't wear this or that. But like you were just like so yourself. And this is where I try to tell girls like you could literally be wearing a paper bag. But when you are just authentic and genuine and right out of the woodworks, like it doesn't matter. Like when you're good, you are good. And that's really all that matters. So, girl, I feel you. And after a couple more, I'm sure you'll start to see like there are benefits to each one. Um,
Mm-hmm,
you take
for sure.
advantage of the opportunities that you have, really. That's all. But that was this segment of this or that. I hope you were as pleased with the questions that you got as you've seen. And
Love them.
everyone, stay tuned for whoever is next and what they get. But moving on to the purpose of this talk, I wanted to create this talk show series based on the fact that I know that there are amazing people in my life who I look up to. Even though at one point you came to me for guidance, I look up to you for everything that you've done too and the success that you've managed to accomplish. And I want to share this with other people. I want to see how some people look and just think I'm so inspired, but it's because of the other people who elevate me and uphold me to a higher standard that I shine with confidence and I radiate and I live life alive. And Jasmin, I want you to explain, what does this term mean to you of living life alive?
So I was actually thinking, because I watch your series, I'm like, okay, she's going to ask me this question. What does it mean to me? And I pondered on it because there isn't just one answer. So I feel like there are days where I feel like I'm living it very alive because I'm helping people or I'm educating, right? Other times I'm living life alive for myself. So there's days where it's for others, but then other times it's for yourself. So I think it has to be a mix of both. And if either one gives you joy, that's even better, right? So that's really what it is for me. Obviously, you should, self-care is the most important. You yourself is the most important person for you. But sometimes you do get energy from other people by helping them. So I don't know if I explained it well, but that's really how I see it. It's not just one clear answer. There's so much gray area in that.
No, and trust me, I agree because even though like today is going to be like a 15-hour day for me, but now that I'm done my day at work, I come home and I get to do this talk. I have an optimist meeting. I have 2 coaching clients tonight, but those are things that energize me. And it's like I could say no to them and I would just like kind of be by myself for a little bit, but like I want to do these things and I get joy out of them. And it's on my own terms. I know I could, you know, reschedule this or I could miss the meeting. Like it wouldn't be the end of the world. But these things actually bring me energy. And I know that as long as it's doing that and it's not draining me and then I'm still giving back to myself. Like, for example, I got a facial today. I worked out today. Like I
There
did
you
my
go.
knee care today. So now is my time that I get to be energized by helping out other people and giving back to them. And sometimes that means living life alive. It's not always just for
Exactly.
me. Because if I bottle up all my energy and all of my goodness and just keep it inside, I don't make anyone better. And that's like the 4th or the 5th step of my self-care routine is you have to think of others and give back to others, or else we're
Exactly.
not making that big change that we could be,
I'm so glad
right?
you mentioned that, right? With your life, you should, while living it alive, you want to make that impact. You want to make sure that people know that you were here and you did everything you could, not only for yourself, but for your community, right? So I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah, and believe me, when I started pageants about 4.5 years ago, I remember one of the components was a charity component or like a volunteering component. And I think I had like 20 hours I put down. Like that was it. 20 hours and I was 21 years old. I had nothing that I'd done of like tangible concern or anything like that that was notable. And now I've probably, I don't even know, like 20,000 hours it feels like. And it feels so much better. I'm so much more connected with my community, with the different issues that are going on around. And it's not just about me, but it's the fact that, hey, I can help out more. I just had to find what I liked and I had to help, you know, just to give my time where it was needed. That's one thing we teach in Optimist International is that you're a volunteer. This is not your
Hmm.
job. You do it when you have the energy and you do it on your own terms as well. Because if it sucks the energy out of you, then you're no good to us anyways. So that's just one
Exactly.
thing. Yeah, we're optimists, but like we're very realistic about it,
Exactly.
honestly.
That's perfect. Perfect. And when you live your life alive, you're helping others live their life alive too, right? So you got to make sure that your energy is there so you can give it to them too.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, like we were talking last month it was, and the month of September, September 2020 in particular, it's hit a lot of people and like myself included, I think you can admit to this. And I want to just kind of focus on this one period of time. Like, what do you think happened? Not only is weather changing, are we entering a world of more virtual and online opportunities more than ever? What kind of happened with you? What was your experience, and were you able to still maintain that sense of well-being and feeling alive, or how did it kind of impact you personally?
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack in September. So basically, let me just start by, the summer was extremely busy. I'm a virologist. I have my PhD on viruses, and already this is like the number one topic of everyone's conversations. And in the summer, I continued to work in my lab, made sure that I finished all the experiments that I had to before I started this new position. And we also had a COVID project going on in there. And I wanted to use my knowledge of viruses to help other people understand about COVID. And so I think maybe I've spread myself a little too thin. So I did a lot of work just teaching about this virus in general. And so the summer was extremely, extremely busy. And then right away we get to September where the students come in. And we have to remember that I teach first year students and second year. And the first year students, this is probably one of their first times in university, right? And this is their experience in front of a computer. And so already you have to keep in mind that their mental health has to stay in check and to give them the resources that they need. And so you already feel some sort of energy coming from your students, right? We give a sort of positive energy and then they feel better. But then if they are also not feeling so great, you feel that as well. So already there was that happening. Another thing is all of these meetings, like you mentioned, everyone's going online. So you have meetings constantly online via Zoom, and actually glaring can really make you more tired rather than doing in-person meetings. So you're exhausted just physically, your eyes, you just want to like, scratch your eyes out because you're just so tired of looking at a screen. So there's that. And then the fact that you're at home. So I don't have a 9 to 5. I don't know what that is anymore. I would work from 8 in the morning to sometimes 2 in the morning, constantly sitting. Sometimes I forget to eat. I don't even remember when dinner was supposed to be made or anything like that. So many days I just had my self-care went out the window. And I think I do put a lot of priority to my students, right? Like they are my number one priority. I want to make sure they learn and they learn it safely, physically, mentally, which way, and that they have a good experience at the university, even though it's virtual. And I am putting a lot of time into that in different ways that I kind of forget about myself.
Oh, I know.
So,
oh, I know, girl.
oh
And
yeah.
that's how it goes, especially because now you're a much more selfless person. Like each selfless act you do, you realize like, oh, well, I can do a little bit more. I can do a little bit more. And oh, I can take this call here instead of, an hour lunch. It's like a 15-minute snack and a 45-minute call after that. And we pack so much into our own schedules that we don't realize how it's going to just slowly drain our tank.
Exactly.
Plus, another thing about first years is like they're like learning a whole new language almost. Like just because they understand the words doesn't mean they understand like the concepts of everything. And I'm sure that you get not a lot of just your standard easy to answer questions. You probably have a lot of like temple massaging kind of questions that you have to give attention to and you have to be very patient with, very, very patient with. But all of that being said, no matter how rational you are, no matter how level-headed you are, it's still your time. And like you said, it's still going to impact you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when like your structures totally change from like studying and like prioritizing it this way. Now it's in the complete opposite realm, but still occupying your time.
Yeah. And I think you even mentioned this before where, we can squeeze so many more meetings in because we're at home. When we were in person, it's harder to do that. And you can take that 1 hour lunch because it's in your 9 to 5. Now I can just bring my lunch and eat while working.
I
right?
know.
Because
It's all working lunches. It's all working lunches, truly.
Yeah.
Especially when like you have other things to, we're not going to talk about work right now. We're not going to talk about work. But the whole idea that I want to ask you, now you're aware of this, and I know that your course load is lightening up a little bit. What is the first step to take to taking back that sense of like calmness and clarity for you?
So one thing that I always do, no matter how tired I am, how busy I am, I always do a skincare routine, as you can tell. It doesn't take much time, but it is a way of taking control back and doing that self-care, right? It's what, like a minute, and even that 1 minute can change everything.
What do you use? Like, what do you do? Because I'm honestly, like when people ask me about like my skincare or my hair care, I am not a pageant gal in that sense. Like I have a moisturizer and maybe like a facial, like remover, not a facial remover, a makeup remover and like hairspray.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So like I'm always curious to be like, what do you actually do? Like what are the steps that you do?
So I must say, I'm not wearing, well, in this light, from what I see, I'm not wearing any foundation. You
Me
could
either.
tell.
We're doing a no makeup. A no
Yeah.
makeup. Yes, she talks.
So I use Mary Kay products, shameless plug. And it's a scrub in the shower, either like if you're taking a bath or a shower with warm water. Sometimes use a mask only maybe once every 2 weeks. You don't want to overdo it. Same with a scrub, like the very rough scrub. And then you use a toner to close the pores. So tone, and then add I use anti-aging cream. I think it's time. It's time now.
Listen,
So.
I started getting, I feel like I've still been sleeping okay, but I've been getting the biggest bags and I'm like, is it time for eye cream? Oh my goodness, is this when 25 is downhill from here? I don't know.
That's what people tell me. They tell me after 25 is just downhill. That's when I started getting all my white hairs. So I'm sorry.
Anyways, but the facial
You're
scrub,
good.
is it the pink one?
Yes.
Girl, I got the same one.
Yeah.
I got a little
Every
bit of
day.
skincare. Okay, I've got the Jasmin skincare line. We love that.
Yeah.
No, Mary Kay
So
is fantastic. That's great. Okay, yes, you were saying.
yeah, so toner is very important because every time you use that scrub, it opens up your pores, and the last thing you want is them to stay open if you go outside and you touch your face, right? Get anything into your pores. So make sure you close those. And during the day, I use the anti-aging and the SPF cream. Always use SPF. I also have an SPF chapstick, very important. And nighttime, I have just a anti-aging cream. You don't need to
Perfect.
wash your face twice.
Awesome. Do you ever go for facials at all?
I went for a facial once in my life, and it was right before my wedding. Maybe I shouldn't have done it right before, but I just never thought of it. I don't know why. I feel like I would enjoy it. I enjoyed that one time, but
I'm
I
not
should
gonna
do it
lie,
again.
I don't think I've ever booked a facial for myself and like took it upon myself to go and like purchase one, but I've done many as gifts, and it's usually not even my gifts. It's usually like hoping she's cool with this. It's usually my mom's or my sister's gifts, and they don't do those. So like they give them to
Yeah.
me, and I'm like, okay, I'll go. They are the most relaxing things. Like sometimes, and I never know what the facial's for. I always just go and get it. Like sometimes it's a little massage, sometimes it's like a cleanser one, and the people are like, "Oh, are you okay with this?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine. I'm just here to relax. Like it's just a fun little treat yourself thing." So I did one today that was fantastic, and this is gonna be my girl that I stay with now. Like I don't want to keep jumping around everywhere now that I know my skin is. She could be going downhill. I want it to be much more consistent. But she was actually like, your skin's fine. Like I think we just want to make sure that, targeting like different acne spots that have come up with the mask situation. And the fact that I was able to just lie down for an hour, because honestly, like I said, when your day is packed, it's like, how do you even wash your face? Like showering sometimes gets cut short just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So like masks are not always a thing, but being able to lie down for an hour and know that I'm taking care of my skin, I'm cleaning like the one thing that makes me feel the most confident, because it's where my smile is, it's where everyone's looking, it's in front of the camera. It was so relaxing. Even though I knew I had a long day ahead, I was just able to relax and close my eyes. So you're right, skincare is important, but it's not just skincare, it's also a little bit of that soul care that we need.
Mm-hmm.
Help us feel like connected and like, oh yeah, I'm a human, I have needs, and I can't just give without giving
Exactly.
myself a little drink of the nourish cup, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I like to say now what I do, I don't know if it's always the best. So you never want to go to bed right after work, right? Or your brain's still running, and you want to make sure that you give yourself some time for your brain to relax, for your body to just relax a bit. And that way you can actually get some sleep. I do use, I think it was, I forgot what it was called. I use this app on my phone, and oh, it's called Mind Shift. It's a really good app. And if I listen, I tried yoga. I actually did meditation with monks in Japan, and that did not work. So nothing's, when it comes to just relaxing my body and my mind, nothing worked. And that's what I needed. And I think that's what a lot of people can use. And I can't just shut it off, right? I need someone to tell me, all right, do this type of breathing, but not for too long. So the Mind Shift app, what I do is right before bed, I'm on my bed right before sleeping, listen to it for 5 minutes. And it's just a different way of breathing. So you breathe differently, and it tells you how to do it. It counts down for you. And again, I don't like meditating for too long. Takes me, my mind just wanders.
I'm gonna download this. Continue.
Oh, sorry. I saw your mouth moving, but I didn't hear you. So I'm like, oh, I did
Sometimes
something?
I whisper, but I don't talk. No, I'm gonna download this Mind Shift, everyone. She's not an advertiser for it.
No. My friend told me about it and she uses it. There's also another app called Calm.
It's a great one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's that one. So there's many. So you just, again, it's kind of like a shoe, right? Whatever fits best. So you just have to try different types, be patient with yourself when it comes to this, and then see what works. So I know that works for me. I can only do it for 5 minutes, not more, and my body feels a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, and like you said, you don't really need more than 10 minutes. Like I know some people when it comes to working out, they're like, oh, if I can't go do an hour-long workout, I'm not going to go. But that's such a poor mentality to have because you should still do something, even if it's a little something, to be able to get back to yourself. And like you said, this thing is pretty much putting the monks out of, I don't know, business. Do monks have businesses? But it's so important. But it's so important to, especially with the rise of COVID and everything being just like kind of stressful, chaotic, very online. I feel like now we've been more in tune with online news and everything that's been posted in the media. It is really important to not only take time away from our screens, but to also take time and rejuvenate our brain. Our brain is like a muscle and we need to work it and we need to take care of it just as much as like the other muscles in our body.
Yeah, no, you said it. I couldn't have said it perfectly. And another thing that you can do, I mean, I already talked to you about this, but so I'm on the 4th floor. My kitchen is on the 1st floor. I have dishes here. I bring a few, bring them down, come back up, bring another few down. So that's one way that I try to get my body to move, even though it's not like your typical exercise. And it doesn't take long, but you already feel a bit better. Your butt gets a break from sitting. So there's that as well, right? And
I still love that you shared. I love that you shared that. Thank you. That was just beautiful.
And you mentioned the news. There's so much happening, and we're all in the same storm, but we're not on the same boat, right? Like we have our lives are all different, but we're all in the same storm. And what you really have to do is just try to take that news, just flip it over, put it away for a bit, because you can't do anything to control it sometimes. Sometimes obviously you can, like outside you can wear a mask, but other times there's nothing that you can do. And if it's just, you can't let it control how you feel.
I agree, girl. And I'm happy to see that like things are, even just like your energy, I can tell, because like I said, we talked about a month ago, it was a lot. It was like a little ball of like negative energy, stress. Not a bad thing. It happens. We all go through it. Now it's a lot more calm. But if you had to give your students right now one piece of advice, just knowing everything that they're going through and the stress, the chaos, the confusion, because I didn't understand that student schedules change almost every single week. It seems like sometimes their classes are online for this amount of time here, there. And like the one thing I've learned is that not just students, but we as humans need structure in some capacity to function normally, like some kind of regular sleeping schedule, a regular school schedule, some kind of regularity, because that's going to regulate our internal mind-body connection, our internal hormones and things like that. So long story short, what is one piece of advice you would give to them so that they can stay connected internally, connected to their work, staying focused? Like, what is your piece of advice for them?
I've said this to many students already, and it's mainly because they were just struggling in general. whether it be the amount of assessments, so the amount of assignments and exams and things are hard or anything of that sort. I told them that they have to remember one thing. Well, I said two things. One thing was very cheesy. Well, actually, no, they're both cheesy.
I'm all about it.
So the first thing I did mention was that, life is like a pizza. School is just a piece of it. There's so many different pieces and so many different slices that you also have to pay attention to. And another thing is life goes on. You might not do well on this one quiz. Okay, you learn from it. You continue because tomorrow's a new day, right? And another thing is that school's not going anywhere. It's not. So if you don't do well in one class, God forbid you don't do well, you always have that chance to make up for it. And it's not going to hurt you in the long run. I can say that. I can say that because I've gone through all the different stages that you are currently coming through, and I'm here and I'm thriving. So I can say that. And I had to give this bit of a pep talk to literally all my students, because no matter what they're going through, I think that they can relate to that. So those are the pieces of advice I gave them. A lot of them had positive feedback for it, so I'm just saying it helped.
Oh no, absolutely. And that's not even just for students. Like, I know the pageant gals that I teach, I'm like, even if you don't do well in a pageant, it's just one pageant. Kind of like you said, it's one part of your life. There's gonna be more pageants and life still goes on. And that can be said almost about any item or any area of life. And it's so difficult when you're in the moment. And I know because it comes just because, we do things, we take care of ourselves. We have this like sense of awe and, this beautiful aura that we try to carry ourselves with. There's still those stressful days. And when you're in it, it's just like nothing, it feels like nothing can just help you overcome it. But just remembering, like, if I always like to say, imagine that we're going to use my coffee cup here, Maria. This is the world. I want you to take yourself out of the teacup or the tea bag. So if you take yourself out of the world, you realize how small you are compared to it. This was better in my head. That was a better analogy in my head. But if you imagine all of the world's problems and you remove yourself and look at it as if you're like a space alien, it's almost like, oh, there's so much more going on. At the same time, it puts it into just bigger perspective that it doesn't have to impact me this way. And it's just really in my mind. Because when I'm out here, all of this isn't stressing me out. It always is. It always will be. I just have to do what I can each day to try and maintain that sense of me. And then come back and realize, okay, what can we do to move forward?
Yeah, I am a strong believer in, if you're stressed, and I get that you just don't want to hear anything, you don't have a good cry. If you need it, take it, do it. And then, exactly what you just said. Okay, put it all into perspective. You had your irrational moment and now it's time to be more rational and try to figure out, okay, what is my problem? Is there a way of fixing it? If there is, you're already like one step ahead, right? So there's that.
I hear you, girl. I'm going to take like that as a screenshot clip and just like replay it to myself whenever I need to.
But send me that clip. Sometimes I need to hear myself.
You're like, did I say that? Was that my words? I don't know. Good. Dang. Wise. I know. Sometimes I hear myself from like a couple years ago. I'm like, wow, I was pretty wise. I should really listen to myself.
That's it. Do as I say, not as I do, is what I tell everyone.
I go in and out of it. I'm the student. I'm the teacher. It goes back and forth. Yeah. Now, I want to know, now that we've talked about some of the, more tangible things, like the relatable advice things, I want to know, what are you up to moving forward from here? What's Jasmin's 2021 look like? And if anything, obviously you won Miss Queen of the Screen, this very prestigious title, amazing. Oh my gosh, she's excited to get her gift. It's going to be mailed out very shortly and show everyone the prizes. So everyone should go follow Jasmin. I'm going to leave her links all down below. But what is your plan for 2021?
That's such a good question. So I have to say, my professor contract was only for until December, and they were trying to keep me, but because everything's online, there's hiring freeze, there's all of that happening, that I might actually have to get a new job, which I think is kind of exciting and nothing scary, because I'm looking into like assistant dean of student affairs. So all of these things because of this experience, which I don't think, I feel so blessed to have had it, because I don't think many people can say, you know, I was in charge of like 300 plus kids and their education. So moving forward, I guess I will see, right? Am I still working at McGill or not? It all depends on the higher level people. Everyone in my faculty would love to still have me, and I would love to stay. If not, the world is my oyster, and I think I am going to try to move more towards the administrative aspect, and in like smaller, so CEGEPs is what we have in Quebec, which is grade 12 and freshman year in one school, so it's 2 years. And I'm looking into that and trying to see if I can do more administration work. And if that's not gonna happen, we'll see. I think I have my education, I have my experience. I'm not afraid of what the future will bring. Another thing is I am going to do the Mrs. Continence. So I am married. So I will be going to the Mrs. part of.
And she's gonna win. She's gonna
Oh
win
my
the
God.
international Mrs. Continence title. I have no doubt about it. That one is usually held in Las Vegas. Hopefully around June, July time. I mean, you know, everything kind of pending what's going to happen, but it's kind of a blessing in disguise that it didn't happen this year and you had a little bit of time to allow your career to flourish. And you're right, like just because like this is right now, you'll always be you, you'll always have these credentials. And when you think about it, this doesn't, like, you might come back to this might just be a right now thing. It could propel you to wherever you're going to go, but it's such an exciting thing to be able to explore your options and see what does the world have to offer you and what do you have to offer to the world.
Exactly. And I think it's really the perfect time. I'm still young. Sometimes I say I'm old, sometimes I say I'm young. But I've just been nonstop. And everyone's been telling me, like, Jasmin, take a break, like nonstop for 28, well, didn't do anything up until the age of 5. So let's just,
gotcha.
like 23 years. But I think if I can just, and I have so much experience, I have obviously my credentials that I can use for any other job. But I think right now, I think I just need a breather, maybe for like a month or 2.
Yeah, I think you need to like plan another trip to Japan or something with the monks. I don't know if you actually went there, but that would probably be where you need to go.
Yeah, go hang out with the monks again. They were great. We stayed there for 2 nights or 1 night. They were awesome.
It's just unfortunate that they didn't help you feel more relaxed, but that's okay.
There was a fly, and I couldn't. It was just buzzing in my ear, and I had my bad ankle. We had to sit a certain way to a point where my legs just sprung open, and then the monks just looked at me disappointingly, and I'm like, I can't do anything.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm
sorry. I'm gonna sit here like that.
That would be your experience. No, I agree. Taking a break sounds like something that it's not even taking a break. It's taking a break from like career and taking time to like vacation, explore, live life alive in a different way. I was like, I'm not saying that you're not living right now.
I still didn't go on my honeymoon. My husband's still finishing his PhD, and I'm like, finish that. We need to go.
It'll come. I know, I can't imagine, but you have your health, you have your career, you have your happiness, you have the Miss Queen of the Screen title. Amazing. She's already done amazing things, and she's only 28. We're going to say you're only 28, and we're going to maintain that.
28 years young.
You're going to live for like another 80 years, girl, okay? So it's very young. It's just like a quarter of your life right now.
That's true.
And I think this is just like a perfect place to be able to segue out and end this call and this conversation, because we could go on and on, honestly. But I think the most important things that we were able to talk about is, one, taking breaks is good. Taking breaks is great. You were able to give some really great tips with like self-care in the area of like skincare, particularly for me. I'm like, okay, I've got to go do like my facial scrub. Although I had my facial today, so maybe I won't go do that.
Yeah.
But a lot of just like real advice, and sometimes just hearing those words again and again that maybe you've read before or heard, just being able to remind yourself anytime things get hard, this is one slice of the pizza. This is one topping on the pizza. This is not everything. This is not all consuming and all being. So I just have to let this moment be. It will pass. And I think that's the most valuable thing that anyone can really take and learn every day with whatever challenges that they have.
Exactly. And if you need a reminder, write it on a Post-it, stick it right in front of you. I've done that before.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Look, we got my vision board here. Lots of reminders of different
There you
things
go.
that
Hello.
you need these things. It's okay. I'm only able to stay the way that I am because I have these things in clear sight. So there's no shame in posting them and having them close to you where you can see every single day so you do not forget. Now, Jazz, I want to say thank you so much for coming on and agreeing. I mean, I know you just won this like a couple days ago, and I was like, girl, we got to be able to set this call up, but it was just so lovely to be able to chat more with you. I love our calls as always, and I just want you to be able to give some final thoughts, a sign off for you. Like I said, I'm going to leave Jasmin's social media down below so you can go follow her and follow her journey. Where is she going to explore to in 2021? What is that going to hold for her? But overall, I want you to be able to give your final thoughts and a lovely, heartfelt goodbye.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say from everything that you just said. Love yourself first, number one. Love yourself. Love everyone around you. Just spread love. That's
all we need.
That's all we need. And from that, we will thrive, in any direction we go in.
That's all we needed. I love that. Thank you so much, Jazz. Again, I appreciate it. And thanks everyone for watching. If you've made it this far, we both appreciate it so, so much. And we hope that you remember to, of course, love yourself, love everybody else. With that, you can live life alive too. Other than that, hope to see everybody next week in the next episode. Bye. Mwah.